Taking your dogs to a patio restaurant can be a ton of fun, but it can also be stressful if not done right.
Today we're going to be covering some tips and tricks to make it an overall awesome experience.
Our first tip is make sure your dog is exercised before you get to the restaurant. So if they've been home alone all day, don't just get them in a car and expect them to be good at the restaurant, because we're going to expect them to be calm when we're in there. So they've been training a lot today, they're going to be absolutely fine. But if they were fresh and hadn't had such a busy day, I would get to the restaurant early and I would just walk for 20 or 30 minutes, give them a chance to burn off some steam, be a dog, and of course go to the bathroom so that then when we get in the restaurant, we can ask them to lay down and stay, and that's fair to them, right? To ask them to be calm when they've already had a busy day.
All of the dogs that we have with us today are proficiently obedience trained. Coming to a restaurant can be very messy if your dog doesn't have a foundation of commands. So sit, stay, down, all of those are awesome commands to use while eating at a restaurant. If you're bringing a young puppy, of course, you definitely don't need them to know certain commands if it's just going to be a socialization experience.
First piece of advice is put your dogs in the right spot. So don't put them in between you and the rest of the restaurant or in between you and the waiter or waitress, because if they break their downstay, it's going to be really challenging to stop them, right? So right now we have all three dogs right back here. They're all in downstays. And if they were to break their stay, it'd be really easy to stop them. We have the leashes by our feet. If you don't trust your dog, you can of course keep the leash in your hand the entire time, but just make sure you put them in a spot where you're able to control them easily.
Another thing to keep in mind as well is we already ordered an appetizer because we were quite hungry after a long day of training, but the dogs are behaving well around food. They are in a command right now, but they're not dogs that are motivated to jump on the table or jump at the people around us. So that is super important as well, is that your dog must not be jumping at people or jumping at the food on your table.
Definitely.
Once you're settled at the table, it's important to have your dogs remain under control. As you can see, they're quite under control. They're nice and tired. Dash is closing his eyes. It's important though to still stay alert, because of the fact that there's people passing, there's food falling on the ground, someone can get up, a dog could pass by. So it's very important that while you're eating, you're paying attention to your surroundings, just in case you need to quickly grab the leash and correct your dog if they do get up.
So keep in mind, although it's of course great for your dogs to meet people at the restaurant, they don't have to. So if your dog isn't super social, or if they're too social, right, and you're worried that once someone pets them, they're gonna get too excited, they're gonna get up, and it's gonna be kind of a downhill slope from there, that's fine. You don't have to let them say hi to anybody. So a lot of times, the first time someone takes their dog to a restaurant, they'll make a mistake and they'll say, of course you can pet them, and then people will crowd around, they're petting the dog gets overstimulated, and then all of a sudden those naughty habits that Holly was talking about earlier come back, right? They get excited, and all of a sudden now they jump for food, or now they pull to go see a dog that's 10 feet away. So be comfortable saying no. Now, if you do introduce them to people, that's absolutely fine, but do it on your terms and have a plan. So if someone comes up, what do? Do you have them pet the dog in the downstay? Do you have the dog get up? That depends on your dog. Make your decision. So think about it ahead of time. All three of our dogs are friendly. They can be pet when they're in a downstay, but they're also all calm enough to get up. What we won't do is just tell the dogs free, because to a dog, free means free, right?
Exactly.
They're just gonna get up and be excited. So what we would do is, if we said free, we'd pick up the leash as we say free, so it's very clear they're still in training mode. It's not just, free for all playtime.
So another awesome piece of advice as well is feed your dogs beforehand. So they ate dinner, we're eating in front of them, we want to keep it fair. It's also important to not feed them from the table because they're going to be begging a lot more. So good rule of thumb is always feed them first and never feed them table scraps. So we've already talked about having our dogs relax at our side while ignoring people, but they've been quite good so far. So we're going to have our awesome waitress Taylor come say hi to Anakin and talk through how to do a proper person intro. I'm going to release him. Annie, free. Good boy. Make sure he doesn't jump. He's saying hi nice and politely. He's staring at the food over at the other table. But overall, he's being a very good boy, not jumping on her and getting lots of good pets. Thank you so much for saying hi.
Absolutely.
Good boy, Annie. Good job. Good boy. Good boy. So if your dog's not ready for a patio restaurant, don't sweat. We have tons of other awesome videos on our channel about jumping, manners around food, obedience, and hopefully they can get to this point where they're able to come in public at a public restaurant.
Yeah, and also keep in mind, these dogs are well trained. I wouldn't suggest bringing 3 dogs your first time doing this, because if they're not well trained, they're gonna be wrestling under the table, it's gonna be chaos. So I would definitely suggest only bringing 1 dog at a time, unless you feel really good about your dog's training level. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.